Daya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskita Deshatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading or continuing our reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Caitanya Charitamrta. We were reading the Srimad Bhagavatam Shloka, first canto, part 1, chapter 1, verse 2, last week. The great scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva from 4 original verses, describes the most elevated and kind-hearted devotees and completely rejects the cheating ways of materially motivated religiosity. It propounds the highest principle of eternal religion, which can factually mitigate the threefold miseries of a living being and award the highest benediction of full prosperity and knowledge. Those willing to hear the message of this scripture in a submissive attitude of service can at once capture the Supreme Lord in their hearts. Therefore, there is no need for any scripture other than Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're beginning again today from verse number 92. Tara Madhye Moksha Vancha Kantava Pradhan Yata Haite Krishna Bhakti Haya Antardan. The foremost process of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Supreme, for this causes the permanent disappearance of loving service to Krishna. Purport: the desire to merge into the impersonal Brahman is the subtlest type of atheism. As soon as such atheism, disguised in the dress of liberation, is encouraged, one becomes completely unable to traverse the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So profound and simple to understand for devotees, and even for those practicing to become devotees. Krishna is the supreme worshipable personality, the supreme object of service. No one can be equal to, no one can become one with Krishna. Everyone's position is simply to serve Krishna for his pleasure. So this desire to merge into the impersonal Brahman, to give up one's identity, any other identity save and except our original identity, pure devotional service to Krishna, is a type of rebellion and a type of insanity against that sublime reality. That is atheism without theism. As soon as such atheism, disguised in the dress of liberation from the cycle of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, and implication in this material world and the laws of material nature, is an automatic byproduct that comes from one's devotional service. You read in the beginning of the Nectar of Devotion that devotional service automatically facilitates or includes liberation. As soon as such atheism, disguised in the dress of liberation, is encouraged, one becomes completely unable. Hare Krishna. There you go. Hare Krishna. Unable to traverse the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 93. Pra sabdena moksha bisandir api nirantsa iti. The prefix pra in the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam indicates that the desire for liberation is completely rejected. This is an annotation by Sridhar Swami, the great commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahojita, completely rejected. Dharma prahojita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Text 94. Krishna bhaktira bandhaka yata subha karma seha eka jivera agyana tamo dharma. All kinds of activities, both auspicious and inauspicious, that are detrimental to the discharge of the discharge of transcendental loving service to Lord Sri Krishna are the actions of the darkness of ignorance. Purport. The poetical comparison of Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda to the sun and moon is very significant. The living entities are spiritual sparks, and their constitutional position is to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord in full Krishna consciousness. So-called pious activities and other ritualistic performances, pious or impious, as well as the desire to escape from material existence, are all considered to be coverings of these spiritual sparks. The living entities must get free from these superfluous coverings and fully engage in Krishna consciousness. The purpose of the appearance of Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda is to dispel the darkness of the soul. Before their appearance, all these superfluous activities of the living entities were covering Krishna consciousness. But after the appearance of these two brothers, people's hearts are becoming cleansed, and they are again becoming situated in the real position of Krishna consciousness. Text 95. Yanhara Prasade e tamo haya nasa, tamo nasa kari kari tatera prakasha. By the grace of Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda, this darkness of ignorance is removed and the truth is brought to light. Text 96. Tattva vasta Krishna Krishna bhakti prama rupa nama sankirtan sabha ananda svarupa. So this is a very wonderful, important, and well heard of verse. The absolute truth is Sri Krishna, and loving devotion to Sri Krishna exhibited in pure love is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all bliss. So the Sankirtan movement of propagating the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the absolute truth is Sri Krishna, and loving devotion to Sri Krishna exhibited in pure love. Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan, that this treasure of Prema Bhakti, the treasure of Braja Bhakti, the love the residents of Vrindavan feel for Krishna, is the true reality and the perfect explanation of the absolute truth. Always strive to attain that love. It is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all bliss. Let there be all victory to the congregational chanting of the holy name of Krishna, which awakens all varieties of devotional service. And practically that also means that all the multivaried devotional services in the Krishna consciousness movement of Lord Chaitanya, and as Srila Prabhupada said of his movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is the self-same extension of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, because the same activities are being carried out and the same principles are being followed without fail, are energized and nourished, purified, directed correctly through the congregational chanting of the holy name. Text 97. Surya Chandra Bahirera Tama Se Vinase Bahir Vatstu Gata Pata Adi Se Prakashe. The sun and moon dissipate the darkness of the external world and thus reveal external material objects like pots and plates. So as an easy example, and here it relates to the two lords, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, text 98. Dui Bai Hirdayera Shali Andakara Dui Bhagavata Sange Karana Saksatkara. But these two brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart. And thus they help one meet the two kinds of Bhagavats, persons or things in relationship with the personality of Godhead. Text 99. Eka Bhagavata Bada Bhagavata Shastra Ara Bhagavata Bhakta Bhakti Rasa Patra. One of the Bhagavats is the great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is the pure devotee absorbed in the mellows of loving devotion. Two Bhagavats, book Bhagavat and devotee Bhagavat. Dui Bhagavata Dvara Diya Bhakti Rasa Tanhara Hirde Tanra Prema Haya Vasa. Through the actions of these two Bhagavats, the Lord instills the mellows of transcendental loving service into the heart of a living being, and thus the Lord in the heart of his devotee comes under the control of his devotee's love. So many devotees, disciples of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, they describe how they were serving in Prabhupada's temple, serving Prabhupada's mission, associating with the devotees, listening to Prabhupada's recorded classes, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and then many didn't meet Srila Prabhupada for a good amount of time later, months or even a year or more. And their experience is that meeting Srila Prabhupada in person was, in a sense, not at all different than his book and his recorded lectures, etc., or having Prabhupada's association through their senior godbrothers and godsisters. So the pure devotee is non-different than the Shastra. Mukunda Maharaj, in his book, he writes very candidly and humbly from his position as a outsider meeting Prabhupada for the first time. Miracle on Second Avenue is the name of the book. That he met many, many famous people, influential people, and wanted to meet them and get to know them somehow. But it was always very difficult, and he found that all of them, their private life or who they actually were when you met them, was much different than the image that either they or their publicist created for them. But Prabhupada was not at all different, and it wasn't that, the famous people, they ran out of things to say and would excuse themselves and go away, but it was the opposite, that he, Mukunda Maj, Michael Grant at the time, he ran out of things to say, and Prabhupada had all the time in the world for him. That whatever, and Prabhupada said, whatever, if you want to know me, read my books. My books are my transcendental ecstasies. Rameshwar Prabhu, he told how Prabhupada told him how he's writing his books so that everyone, for the next 10,000 years, we just look in our own lifetime and how things change and different mores and different attitudes and what's the hip thing and the cool thing, this and that, and expected. You're a young person now, so 30, 40, 50 years from now, you're going to be pushed to the side, and the new people are going to think that they're it and where it's at. So this is going to go on by the laws of nature for so long. So I'm writing these books that they will be the law books for human society for 10,000 years. Therefore, I choose each word very, very carefully. Through the actions of these two Bhagavats, the Lord instills the mellows of transcendental loving service into the heart of a living being, and thus the Lord, in the heart of his devotee, comes under the control of his devotee's love. So this is the glory of devotional service, that the limited, we were hearing yesterday from Pavanitai Chand, who was elaborating on this sublime principle of devotional service. Krishna is unlimited, but part of that unlimitedness is that he wants to be controlled by the limited. So, of course, the Mahatmas, the great souls, were not deluded. They are under the control of Daivi Prakriti, Srimati Radharani. She is the best devotee. Why? Because she loves Krishna the most. So we take shelter in our pure devotee, spiritual master, Diksha, Shiksha, and all proper and desirable for the right reasons, devotee Sangha. And that is in the path, in the marg, in the way of devotional service, ultimately of the internal potency, Mul Prakriti herself, Srimati Radharani, who controls Krishna, Madan Mohan Mohini, and we are taught the ways of pure devotional service, and Krishna becomes very much attracted to us. Those who say they are my devotees, this is in the Adi Parva of the Mahabharata, they are not actually my devotees. Krishna is speaking this to Arjuna. But those who are devotees of my devotees are factually my devotees. Prabhupada writes in one place that the more one becomes the servant of the servant, the more one is actually elevated and advanced in devotional service. And thus the Lord, in the heart of his devotee, comes under the control of the devotee's love. Text 101. Eka Adbhuta Sama Kale Dohara Prakash Ara Arbhuta Chitta Guhara Tamakari Nash. The first wonder is that both brothers appear simultaneously. So the sun and the moon, they don't appear at the same time. The sun is for the daytime and the moon is for the nighttime. The first wonder is that both brothers appear simultaneously, and the other is that they illuminate the innermost depths of the heart. I'll probably give the example that the sun is shining, but if you keep your windows and shutters closed, how can you get the benefit? But this sun and moon, Lord Caitanya, they penetrate and illuminate the innermost depths of the heart. The sun and the moon, they're representative of Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda. But Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda, they're not representative of anything. They are the original source of the sun and the moon, the original personalities of Godhead. And they most certainly have the power to illuminate the innermost depths of everyone's heart, know everyone's deepest secrets, confidential desires, and how to fulfill them. That's why it's encouraged that whether one has no desire for liberation, all kinds of desires, one should approach the personality of Godhead because he will ultimately purify things or handle things in such a way that you will come out as a spotlessly pure devotee. I think this is too loud. The story of Dhruva Maharaj, who ultimately became free of his initial reason for approaching the personality of Godhead, for vengeance, revenge, anger and motive passion, that I came to you wanting a cheap piece of glass, but instead you've given me this most valuable diamond. And in the teachings of Lord Caitanya to Sanatana Goswami, later in the Madhya Lila, there's the story of Sanatana Goswami keeping a touchstone that can turn any metal into gold. Somehow he had it, and he was keeping it in a neglected place. And one poor Brahmin came to know that Sanatana Goswami was in possession of it, and came there begging for it, and Sanatana Goswami immediately, yes, take it. I don't have the slightest need or desire for it. And then this Brahmin, he was intelligent and perceptive and sincere, and then upon taking it, without going very much of a distance, he came back and said, well, you're in possession of this most valuable treasure and you're giving it away like it's nothing. You must have something even more valuable. Not thinking, like a criminal, okay, I stuck you up, I'm holding you up at gunpoint, give me your money, and you give me like $35 or something. Wait a minute, you're a rich guy, you must have more. Where's the real money, But no, it was like, spiritually intelligent, he's thinking, you must have some, in a humble mood, he came, a devotional mood. And Sanatana Goswami, marking him, said, yes, I have something much more valuable. Because Sanatana Goswami's fame and reputation as an exalted pure devotee was known far and wide. So, what to speak of 500 years ago, or 450, 475 years ago, even today, there's still some semblance of recognizing how a saintly person, one who's actually, of all types of name and fame, who is the most famous? Ramananda Roy is asked by Lord Chaitanya. One who is reputed to be a pure devotee of Krishna enjoys the utmost fame and glory. So he's my dearest Mahasaya Sanatana Goswami. Well, you must have something more valuable. Yes, but first you have to throw this touchstone away, throw it in the lake. So not only are you going to throw it away, okay, you threw it away, but then later I just go and rustle through the leaves and bushes and take it back. But throw it in an irretrievable place. And then he initiated him as a disciple and gave him the Maha Mantra. One time, one of Srila Prabhupada's servants, I can't remember exactly who, Prabhupada was chanting japa, and very deeply and with great relish, and Prabhupada remarked, just see that we are able to touch Krishna with our tongue, and we're chanting Krishna's holy name. It is so nice. Text 102. A Chandra Surya Dui Parama Sadaya Jagatera Bhage Gode Karila Udaya. These two, the sun and moon, are very kind to the people of the world. Thus, for the good fortune of all, they have appeared on the horizon of Bengal. Purport. The celebrated ancient capital of the Sena dynasty, which was known as Godadesh or Goda, was situated in what is now the modern district of Malda. Later, this capital was transferred to the ninth or central island on the western side of the Ganges at Navadvip, which is now known as Mayapur, and was then called Godapur. Lord Chaitanya appeared there, and Lord Nityananda came there and joined him from the district of Birbhum. They appeared on the horizon of Godadesh to spread the science of Krishna consciousness, and it is predicted. So we're being asked to engage in something that's not, the results or the outcome is not certain. Like we're going to, what do they call it, the most amphibious land invasion in history, the D-Day, June 6, 1944, storming the beach in Normandy, France, to recapture and save Europe from Nazi Germany, The results were uncertain, for example. So we're asked to go to war, in a sense, or do battle with the forces of illusion, but the results are certain. Our victory is assured. We don't have to worry. The Krishna consciousness movement, spreading the science of, and it is predicted that as the sun and the moon gradually move west, the movement they began 500 years ago will come to the Western civilizations by their mercy. So Prabhupada could not deny that he was the one to do it. Shrutakirti, I think he was saying one time, Prabhupada was describing these predictions and how, and the devotees were glorifying Prabhupada, as he's the one who did it, and Prabhupada said, okay, maybe it was me. He was very humble. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu drive away the 5 kinds of ignorance of the conditioned souls. In the Mahabharata Udyoga Parva, 43rd chapter, these 5 kinds of ignorance are described. They are 1. Accepting the body to be the self. 2. Making material sense gratification one's standard of enjoyment. 3. Being anxious due to material identification. 4. Lamenting. And 5. Thinking that there is anything beyond the absolute truth. You see this subtle demon that even you hear the explanation of the absolute truth from the authorized source, and the mind wants to explain it away. And yes, but, or there's some doubt, there's some, and that doubt is accompanied with like a nihilistic fearfulness, of there is no explanation. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya eradicate these 5 kinds of ignorance. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, Krishna consciousness, automatically includes or engages one in devotional service. Shravanam is the first process. Hear about Krishna, and then automatically devotional service, the inclination to, again, as your original pure self, to associate, serve, and love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, love the absolute truth, love the truth manifests. Whatever one sees or otherwise experiences, one should know to be simply an exhibition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's energy. Everything is a manifestation of Krishna. Text 103. Se dui prabhara kari charana bandhana yanha haite vignanas abhista paran. Let us therefore worship the holy feet of these 2 lords. Thus one can be rid of all difficulties on the path of self-realization. So I'm told it was verse 92 to 94, but I'm going to complete the chapter here. Text 104. E dui sloke kaila mangala vandana triya slokera artha suna sarva jana. I have invoked the benediction of the Lords with these 2 verses, texts 1 and 2 of this chapter. Vande Garon Isha Bhaktan Isha Ivatarakan Tat Prakasam Chatak Chakti Krishna Chaitanya Samnakam. I offer my respectful obeisance to the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnations, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sodito Gododaye Pushpavanto Chitro Sando Tamo Nudo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Now please hear attentively the purport of the 3rd verse. What the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord, known as the Supersoul, is but his localized plenary portion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with six opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. I purposely avoid extensive description for fear of increasing the bulk of this book. I shall describe the essence as concisely as possible. Text 106. Mitam cha saram cha vacho hi vagamita iti. Essential truth spoken concisely is true eloquence. Simply hearing submissively will free one's heart from all the faults of ignorance. Thus one will achieve deep love for Krishna. This is the path of peace. If one patiently hears about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Prabhu, and their devotees, devotional activities, names, and fame, along with the mellows of their trance-loving exchanges, one will learn the essence of the absolute truth. Therefore, I have described them in the Caitanya Charitamrta with logic and discrimination. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, first chapter, describing the spiritual masters. Hare Krishna. So the next reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita will begin chapter 2, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So I think we should stop. What should we do? And stop 1 minute late. It's up to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Govinda ki jai, Gaura Premanandi Haribol.
Lamentation.